Welcome everyone to Diane's Patisserie. I'm Diane Nussbaum from the executive chef of Diane's Patisserie. I've been baking and decorating cakes since 1981 in my home kitchen and elevated to a commercial kitchen several years after that. So I've been practicing for a long time and I really enjoy what I'm doing, and especially French pastry has been a love of mine. So today we're going to be making this very delicious, delicate French dessert called la concorde, and it's layers of chocolate meringue with a delicious chocolate mousse inside. And you can see that the layers can be baked in any shape that you like. They can be in the oval shape, or this particular one, which I've already finished, has been piped in a round shape depending upon how many people you're going to be serving. Start with some room temperature egg whites, and we have 5 egg whites, and we're going to put a little bit of cream of tartar in with them. I always like to do that just to make sure that the egg whites will mix properly. Let's just get a little pinch in there, and we're going to be mixing that with some granulated sugar to make these egg whites nice and stiff. And at the same time, I've already set my oven to 325 degrees. It depends on your oven, which temperature, but above all, you don't want your meringues to burn. So that's very important for you to pay attention to your oven temperature. It can take a little longer, but it's certainly worth the wait. So my egg whites are already a little foamy. I'm putting all of my sugar in. As soon as these get very stiff, then we're going to be adding to the egg whites a mixture of cocoa powder and confectionery sugar, which I've already measured out. So we have 3½ tablespoons of cocoa powder, and we have 1 cup of confectionery sugar. And our egg whites are doing great. They're coming right up, so you'll be able to see them in a moment. So this is a very quick batter to make, not difficult at all. The most important thing is to make sure that your mixing bowl is very clean, your beater is very clean, because the egg whites won't beat well if they have too much, any grease in your bowl. I think that we're done. So I'm just going to show you what really nice stiff egg whites look like. You want them to be nice and foamy, just the way they are now. Get all that egg white off of there. And we're going to be adding the confectionery sugar and cocoa powder a little bit at a time, mixing it in. So we're folding the egg whites and sugar into our bowl. So you can try and combine them as much as possible each time without deflating your egg whites. So that's kind of the trick of this recipe, because these little straws that we've made, which we're going to be piping, just kind of melt in your mouth, and they're so delicious. So let's continue adding some more cocoa powder with our confectionery sugar. So I'm doing the additions in about 1/3 at a time. We don't want to overwhelm our egg whites with too much of this mixture. So just keep, it's like an over and under folding of your materials into your egg whites. And it kind of feels like it's never going to get there, but it will. Baking is a little bit of patience and being a little bit delicate at the same time. Don't get frustrated, because you know in the end you're going to have something very delicious. So that's the end of our confectionery sugar and cocoa powder, and I have to make sure it is well combined. So especially if you have a 5-quart mixer and it has this little bump at the bottom, you have to make sure you scoop into that area because the food will get caught there. So you want to make sure that that part as well gets mixed into your batter. So you can see it's a very rich chocolate hanging from my spatula. That's exactly what you want it to look like, just nice and thick. And so before I even started, I decided that I was going to make 8-inch circles today. So I took an 8-inch cake pan. I drew circles of the 8-inch size. So this is my template. I'm going to put it on the sheet tray with a new clean piece of paper on top so that I can pipe our discs so that we'll be able to make our mousse and fill them. So we're piping both the round or oval discs. The oval disc would serve about 10 people. The round disc would serve 6 to 8 people. So you can decide. And then we've also made these little ones, which you can make small ones like this, put 2 of them together with the mousse inside and have a little petit four if you're serving small desserts instead of one large dessert that you're going to cut. So again, remember whenever you're filling your pastry bag, fold it back. Don't fill it up above where you folded it back. Squeeze all the air out. So this is a plain round tip, about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to start in the middle and start piping concentric circles all the way around. So just keep squeezing out the meringue. And try and keep it a steady flow so that each circle is about as deep as the one before. I'll do one more because I really think you can do 2 or 3 depending upon if you want the cake to be higher or lower. But if you're not serving too many people, you don't really need to do 3 layers of the meringue. And if you choose to make a template, you can save it, just fold it up, put it in a nice clean plastic bag, put it away for the next time you're going to make this dessert, so you don't have to do the measurements again. You can use the same size tip to continue piping the straws, which I'm going to do. And you'll see the difference. I'll do a couple of these small round ones. Or you can use a little bit of a smaller tip to do thinner straws if that's what you prefer. So we'll pipe a few of those. And this is like baking any egg white, meringue, or macaroon. You're going to bake this until your cake or your layer will come off the pan easily. So to make these straws, we just pipe long strips, and then once they're finished baking, we're going to break them into small pieces so that we can decorate our cake. And people just like to munch on them anyway, so if you have some extra, don't worry about it because they're delicious. You can put them on your ice cream. You can put them in your hot chocolate. There's lots of great ways to use any of this meringue that's left over, so never worry. Okay, I think that's really good. So now we're going to pop it in our oven. And these will bake for about 30 to 40 minutes. So luckily, with the magic of television, we have some pieces all ready to go. So we'll come back to look at them in a few minutes, but now we're going to get started on the mousse that's going to go inside our meringues. And for this we need some bittersweet chocolate, and you get whatever brand you like the best. If you can't find pieces like this, you will have to chop it because you need to have it broken into little pieces. We also need, so that's 11 ounces of bittersweet chocolate. I like to make extra mousse because it's delicious and you can use it in some other way. It's a little more than you need. This is 4 ounces of sweet butter, unsalted, which will get melted with the chocolate. And then I've separated 4 egg yolks and 5 egg whites, which we're also going to be mixing. So let's get our chocolate started to be melted in a double boiler. So I want to mention that it's taken about 5 minutes for this chocolate to melt, and when you're using a double boiler, you want to bring the water to a boil in your pot below, but then you can turn it off, because if chocolate gets too hot, it's going to make it not want to melt. It's going to burn it. So we always want to keep our chocolate at a lower temperature. So I'm going to take this off the heat, and I want to combine the chocolate with the egg yolks first, and then we'll beat the egg whites. So that we don't hurt the egg yolks, we're going to take a very little bit of this hot chocolate into our egg yolks and give it a stir. So this is just tempering one with the other. So we're just mixing it to get the egg yolks to the same temperature as the chocolate, because when you're working with chocolate, everything has to be similar temperatures. And that's something very important to know. Now, a lot of the French don't even cook their eggs at all when they make a mousse, but we believe that we should in some way cook the egg yolks and the egg whites. So this is what we're doing. We're tempering these egg yolks, and then I'm going to continue to pour the egg yolks into while I'm stirring the whole time. And you're going to see that the batter, I'll show you in just a minute as soon as I get all of this in here, because it's always important to incorporate everything that you have. So your batter is going to start to get very thick, and that's what we want. And as it sits, it's going to get thicker. So don't think that you've done anything wrong. It's all good. And you do want to let this cool a little bit, not too much. So I always hold my hand at the bottom of the bowl to make sure it's not too hot, and it's good. So now we're going to take our egg whites, and we're going to beat them similarly to the way we beat them for the meringue. We're going to get them very stiff with a little bit of cream of tartar again. And that also helps to build the structure of the egg white. And again, I'm going to be putting a little bit of granulated sugar into the egg whites to make them come together very nicely. So I do a little bit at first, and then we just continue until it's all in. And this will take a minute or so for all of these to come to a good texture. We always want to make sure that everything is the right consistency, the right texture, so sometimes you can't rush things. But we're also going to be adding 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And so while this is beating, I put my other bowl in the refrigerator with the heavy cream, because you should always try and beat heavy cream with a cold bowl and a cold beater. It beats up much more easily. And we'll be folding it into our chocolate, which is cooling off very nicely. We will be able to pipe our mousse as soon as all of these ingredients come together. So our egg whites are coming up very nicely and getting nice and thick. They don't have to be quite as firm as they were for the meringue, because we're going to be folding them into the chocolate. So just another second or so. Getting nice volume. It helps make the mousse lighter and give it a really nice texture. So let's see how we're doing here. So you can see that the egg whites are a little more soupy, but it's good for the mousse. We don't want it to be too strong. So now we will fold this into the chocolate mixture. So again, we don't do it all at once. We do a little bit at a time. So once again, to get it to a good consistency, and it always is good to do a little bit at a time so that all of the materials get to the same temperature. So that's what you're looking for when you're working with chocolate. And a lot of the batters that we do, temperature and quantity are always good. So again, this folding the batter, turning the bowl, folding. So it's an over-under process. And while we finish folding this together, we'll get the heavy cream, and you can beat it right in the same bowl because heavy cream doesn't care if egg whites were in here first. So we'll just get that 1 cup of heavy cream out. Actually, I did make a cold bowl for this, so we'll use the cold bowl. And we can use the same beater. When you're whipping heavy cream, be careful, because if you whip it too long, you're going to make butter. And you might like the butter, but it wouldn't be what you wanted to have for your dessert. So keep an eye on it, and we'll keep folding. And it takes about, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes for the heavy cream to whip. So you do have to keep an eye on it. It's not quite as fast, but as soon as you walk away, you make butter. It's not a good thing. Really delicious, and how nice and dark it is. You should smell this chocolate. It smells so good. All right, I'm keeping an eye on this because I don't want anything to happen to our cream. Okay, we're almost there. It's getting nice and thick. And I'll show you what it looks like. I think it looks perfect. It really helps having the cold bowl because we have some nice whipped cream. And then, of course, if you want to save some extra to just pipe one at the end, you know, or have it on your plate, there's nothing wrong with that either. You don't have to put this all in here. But again, we'll mix it in maybe half at a time, since everything seems to be at a good place at this point. Just folding it in. And you don't have to be as gentle with the heavy cream because everything else is pretty well together. But it makes it so nice and silken. Put the rest in. Okay, almost ready to pipe. And if you have some little tart shells at home, if you have some extra mousse, you can always pipe this into your tart shells. This will also freeze if you want to freeze it and use it at another time, or you can make it a day or two in advance so that for your dinner party you don't have to do everything on the same day. In fact, I would really recommend doing the meringues a day ahead because they do bake a pretty long time, and even making the mousse a day ahead. So it's fairly liquid at this moment, but we have some chocolate mousse that's already been prepared, so I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for a few moments. And start working on our meringues that we have here. So I've already attached our one meringue to my cardboard or your serving platter. And I had the same size tip that I used to make the meringues in the first place. So now we're just going to start piping the mousse onto our shell. And depending upon how much mousse you want, you can just spread that amount out, or we can get some of the other mousse and start putting it on. And you don't have to worry if the meringue cracks a little bit, it's just the nature of it. So this one I put upside down so that now you see the flat side, which is going to make it easier to finish the dessert. And when you make these little meringues, each one of those could be used as part of the place setting for each person. So if you have 8 people, you might want to have 8 of these around your dessert. As I do have one here, it's hard to see them, but you'll see in the end how it all finishes. So let's get some of our delicious mousse out. And we'll add some to our bag. Again, folding back. It's getting nice and thick now. It's really looking good. Didn't take long at all. Again, squeezing out the air. And I like doing this with the bag more than just putting it on with a spatula. I think you get a much more even application onto your dessert. Makes it much neater and cleaner. So then I can put these little meringues in places on here. And then we're going to take our straws and start placing them all over the top so that we can pile them up in any direction that we want, just to make it look interesting, pretty, delicious. You can also put them around the sides if you like, and just pile them up. Abstract, modern art as you want to be, have fun. And you know, this is something that you can have your kids help you do, and I'm sure they're going to be wanting to munch on some of these while they're doing it. All good, because what is pastry for except to have a good time? And then we will take a little bit of confectionery sugar, do a little dusting on here. And so we have our La Concorde. Let's look in the oven and see how our meringues in the oven are doing. They're not quite ready yet, so we need to leave them a little bit longer. They do take sometimes as much as an hour, and this oven seems to be a little cooler than my oven in my bakery, so we will get them eventually. But just so you know that you can prepare this a day in advance, 2 days in advance, just wrap them gently, put them in a dry, cool place, and keep them for as long as you'd like to have them, a couple of days before your party. And so our next few shows that we'll be doing, we're going to be talking about other French desserts, other layer cakes. We'll be doing a white velvet layer cake with fresh strawberry filling. We'll be making some traditional French cookies, macaroons, madeleines, palmier, pave. So I look forward to you joining me the next time. I'm Diane from Diane's Patisserie. You can call me, 609-560-4111. All of our recipes will be available to you on our website if you ask for them. Any questions that you have, and if you have made something like this and you want to show me pictures, I'd love to see what you're doing. Always love to keep in touch with people. Anytime you have any questions or problems, feel free to call me. I'm Diane Nussbaum. Thanks so much.